What's up, Algebra 2 students? This is lesson 62. Our objective for today is how do you solve quadratic equations with complex roots? Don't get freaked out or anything by the word complex. It's not really any harder than what you've already been doing. Complex roots are a kind of number, and those are particularly the kinds that have those imaginary numbers in them. And if you don't know what the word roots means, it's another synonym for solutions, answers, and x-intercepts. So it's all kind of mean the same thing. So I'm just going to run through a couple examples here from your book, and then I'll turn you loose on your homework. So it says solve by completing the square. First thing I'm going to want to do here really is just write that in standard form. So I'm going to say 3x squared minus x plus 5 is equal to 0. Remember, if I'm going to complete the square, I need my leading coefficient, the one by the x squared, to be 1. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and you will get this. X squared minus 1/3 x is equal to negative 5 over 3. So now we need to complete the square. So I'm going to say that negative 1/3 divided by 2, same thing as multiplying by 1/2. Taking that and then squaring it, so it's going to give me negative 1 over 6 squared, which gives me 1 over 36. And I'm going to add the number to both sides. The left-hand side now will factor then to x minus 1/6 squared is equal to whatever this comes out to be. I need to multiply this by 12 over 12, which will give me negative 60 over 36 plus 1 over 36. So then it's going to give me negative 59 over 36. Take the square root of both sides, and I'll end up with x minus 1/6 is equal to the plus or minus square root of negative 59 over 36. X minus 1/6 is equal to plus or minus square root of negative 59 over the square root of 36, which is just 6. Add 1/6 to both sides. I come up here where I have more room. End up with x is equal to 1/6 plus or minus square root of negative 59 over 6. Two things I want to do. First of all, I can combine these two fractions together because the denominators are already the same. And then remember that if you have the square root of a negative number, that's the same thing. I guess we could write it like this. A thought bubble here. The square root of negative 59 is the same thing as the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 59, which is the same thing as square root of 59. So that means x is going to equal to 1 plus or minus square roots of 59 over 6. So really this is just like completing the square we did earlier this week. The only difference is that now we end up with an I in there because we have square roots of a negative number. So I don't think it's too big of a step because we've already learned how to work with i's. So I think you can do that, but let's just do one more just to make sure that you feel very confident with that. Solve by completing the square. Same idea here. I'm going to rearrange these to be 5x squared minus x plus 3 is equal to 0. Subtract 3. 5x squared minus x, leaving space equal to negative 3. Divide both sides by 5. X squared minus 1/5 x is equal to negative 3 over 5. Again, we divided by 5 because our leading coefficient needs to be 1 in order to complete the square properly. So then to complete the square, I'm going to say that negative 1/5 multiplied by 1/2. Squaring, that's going to be negative 1 over 10 squared, which comes out to be 1 over 100. So I'm going to add that to both sides, 1 over 100. This one, since I need this denominator to be the same, 5 times 20 is going to get me that. So this section right here is going to be negative 60 over 100 plus 1 over 100. Interestingly enough, we end up with negative 59 over 100 again. That's just a coincidence. It's not always going to be that. So just don't think that it is. It's going to be x minus 1/10 squared is equal to negative 59 over 100. Taking the square root of both sides, I end up with x minus 1/10 is equal to the plus or minus square root of negative 59 over the square root of 100, which is simply 10. So I'm going to add 1/10 to both sides. End up with x is equal to, remember I'm going to pull that negative 1 out with an I. So it's going to be 1 plus or minus I square roots of 59 all over 10. And I was able to add those together because they both have a denominator of 10. That's why I said 1 plus or minus that. And that is our answer. You have a worksheet for your homework, 10 problems. Most of them won't even have these weird fractions that we add like that. To both sides they'll be integers. And in fact, most of them also have a leading coefficient there of 1. However, every single one of them will have an I in your answer. So just expect that. That's what we're learning new this week, or this lesson. So just expect that. Good luck.